and Drug Administration have had nearly 200 people working on this. Every doctor, every hospital, every nurse have been notified. Every woman in this country, I think, must be aware that it's most important that they check their medicine cabinet and that they do not take this drug, that they turn it in. Every citizen, of course, should be aware of the hazards, and I'm sure they are. Now what we have to concern ourselves about is the first appreciation to Dr. Kelsey, who spared us this terrible human tragedy which has been visited on families in Germany, and to provide both administrative and legislative safeguards to lessen the chance of such action coming in this country again.
The thalidomide tragedy was a significant medical disaster that occurred in the late 1950s and early 1960s. Thalidomide was a medication initially prescribed as a treatment for a range of conditions such as pneumonia, insomnia, and for relieving the symptoms of nausea often experienced in early pregnancy. However, it was later discovered that thalidomide caused severe birth defects in babies whose mothers had taken the drug during pregnancy. The birth defects included shortened or missing limbs, sight loss, hearing loss, facial paralysis, and impact to internal organs. Those affected by the drug will live with the long-term effects of medical mistreatment dating back to World War II. Thalidomide was first developed as a tranquilizer, sometimes used in minor cases of anxiety and sleep disorders, and for more major cases, it was used to treat severe mental health conditions like schizophrenia. Thalidomide was later acquired by a German pharmaceutical company called Chemie Grunenthal. The company had been established by Hermann Wirtz Sr., a Nazi party member during World War II. The company's initial aim was to develop antibiotics for which there was an urgent market need. Hermann Wirtz appointed chemist Heinrich Muchter, who had escaped prosecution for war crimes for his experience on prisoners of Nazi concentration camps, to head the development program because of his experience researching and producing other vaccines for Nazi Germany. There were also other doctors who were Nazi war criminals that were a part of the medical research and development of thalidomide, only making the origins of this drug all the more shady and unsettling. Thalidomide was distributed in Germany in the mid-1950s, and by the end of the decade, many countries around the world began distribution in their local pharmaceutical stores. The first known case of thalidomide-related birth defects was reported in Germany in 1961. A German pediatrician noticed an unusual increase in the number of babies born with limb deformities and traced it back to the mother's use of thalidomide during pregnancy. What can be referred to as the domino effect began to take place when countries such as the United Kingdom, Spain, Australia, and even Canada began reporting the same effects in their population of newborn babies. The US also acquired thalidomide, but it was never widely distributed. In the early 1960s, the drug was submitted for approval to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. However, Dr. Frances Kelsey, an FDA reviewer, withheld approval due to concerns about the drug's safety. Her actions prevented the widespread distribution of thalidomide in the United States, which ultimately spared many potential victims from its harmful effects. The drug was withdrawn by its German distributor as more and more cases began to surface around the world. However, it was still on medicine cabinets under different names. In the few short years that thalidomide was available, it's estimated that over 10,000 babies were affected by the drug worldwide. Around half of those babies died within months of being born. The Thalidomide Society was formed in 1962 by the parents of children living with thalidomide syndrome to support each other, and to help families who were struggling financially, and to start the long battle for recognition and compensation. In 1968, Chemie Grunenthal, the company to first distribute thalidomide, was brought to trial in Germany. The company settled the case out of court, and arrangements were made to compensate German victims by the early 1970s, totaling around 50 million euros to those affected. No one was found guilty of any crimes. Not long after, the UK also compensated its thalidomide-affected population, totaling about 20 million euros. In 2012, the UK extended its financial compensation and committed to providing ongoing support to those affected and who are now well into their 60s. This dark chapter in the medical system of Europe and the world as a whole leaves us with many questions unanswered. Was this just one big mistake, or was there a more sinister agenda by those who were deemed to be sentenced for war crimes against other human beings?